Out of 171 applications, only 14 met the initial constitutional and electoral requirements to move to the next stage. What could the entry of these new parties mean for the 2027 race? Dr. Ladan Salihu, spokesman of the All Democratic Alliance, the ADA. Well, Dr. Salihu, thank you so much for stopping by again.
Good to see you, Shafi.
Good to see you again. But let's take a quick look at what the next steps would be according to the provisions of the Constitution or as contained in the Electoral Act. Well, the notification has already been made. The publication has also been made of those who have passed, the first hurdle. Now is, of course, the briefing of interim officers who will be invited for the instructions on the next stage. And according to INEC, this will happen on the 17th of September. Then there will be the verification where INEC checks offices, membership registers, constitution, as well as document. And then a decision will be made. INEC will either register the associations as a party, impose conditions, or reject the application altogether. Now, INEC has, of course, as you know, Dr. Salih, have been dealing with a lot of concerns by members of the opposition or political figures who question its integrity, who question its neutrality. When it comes to the decision of the electoral umpire, how confident are you that it is going by the rules and its judgment can be trusted? Because even with the registration itself, a lot of people have criticized INEC for flouting some of the provisions where these things are supposed to be done with such speed. Like all these things could be wrapped up in less than 3 months, for instance. However, since 2018 to date, not one political party has been registered.
Yeah, it was a process that was seemingly taking forever to come, but eventually, we know we're here. Now, I am concerned about the, items number 4 and 5. When you talk about verification and you talk about the decision making, Nigerians are worried, not so much because we don't have a cause to trust INEC, but because of the antecedents and the pedigree and the history of, the bloody nose that INEC has given political parties in not only, in the previous 2 national elections. So there is this legitimate worry, the legitimate disposition to fear and to be a bit circumspect about what INEC might do, might not do, will do or will not do. But I want to believe at this point we must also be brave enough to give INEC for once the benefit of the doubt, to encourage INEC to go through the process to fast track the process in order to give all the parties that kind of level playing field where equilibrium will be seen to play out, so that it does not take forever for these things to be done and dusted with. It should be done very soon and fast and quick, so that the parties that would have gotten the final nod will begin to position themselves to campaign and have an equal opportunity to be out there to campaign, to get elected and to participate in the process. Now, the worry of Nigerians will be when it takes another 3 to 6 months and maybe probably even 7 months or more until you are about coming to the home stretch of the elections. And then you now say, okay, I'm releasing the names of political parties that I have verified. That will not give the parties a fighting chance to participate.
In less than 2 years, we're going to have the next general election. Do you think, realistically or pragmatically speaking, that a new entry into the political arena at this moment could actually make a difference, especially if we're talking about 2027?
You see, in the history of a political culture of a party, within the Nigerian experience, it is very difficult to have a party that is very new on the starting blocks to make an impression. You can have two parties coalesce like we did when the ANPP and the Alliance for Democracy, ADC, the Tinubu's party, they came together
ACN,
to form
right.
the ACN to form the APC. These were two, literally, parties with a lot of impressions and their feet on the ground. If you have that, you may succeed. But to have a brand new party on the block, starting all over to compete with the likes of the ADC and the PDP and the APC will be a tall order, honestly. I want to believe that if they must make an impression, then this whole process shouldn't take more than 3 weeks.
There have been concerns speculated in some reports that within the ADC there are some grumblings that the ADA, with this provisional shortlisting by the Independent National Electoral Commission, is probably going to be the next destination of the coalition. As someone who has been a part of the coalition, who is still a part of the coalition, I know the National Publicity Secretary Bolaji Abdullahi dismissed those claims, but is there a chance that these political parties that have been shortlisted are likely going to be alternatives for political figures who are already in one political party or the other? Could they be annexed by any of the existing political parties?
I want to believe, Shafiu, that what we have on the table now is still work in progress. We've not yet gotten, these parties registered per se. And the timeline for the registration of the parties or for the evolution of those parties, those political associations into parties, have not yet been actualized. So the marriage has not been consummated, so to say. The ADA, for instance, is an offshoot, if you like, was midwifed by the League of Northern Democrats, literally. The convener of the League of Northern Democrats, Dr. Umar Ardo, is the arrowhead in the formation of the ADA. So it is safe to assume that the ADC has no worry about ADA coming on board. But what I do know is that we've gone as a party, as ADC, we've gone past that level of discussion. We are now, if you like, steamrolling, or firing on all cylinders on the platform of the African Democratic, Congress, which is the party that we all now are fighting for, to see how we can edge out, the APC in the 2027 elections and form a government.
Let's talk about the paradox of choice. I mean, we already have 19 on the ballot. If these 14 make it to the final stage, that would be, from the calculations, 33.
33, yeah.
Right? Some Nigerians would say this is one of those rare situations where the more is not the merrier. What do you think about, what this represents for our electoral system? Is more better? I mean, we always talk about democracy being about having the option to choose from a lot of options. Is this good for us?
You see, the congregation or amalgamation or, the aggregation of several parties, 33 parties, in a multi-party democracy such as Nigeria, that has not evolved into a quality democracy to be proud of, let's put it this way, for want of a better expression, it's not good for our country. I don't want to even believe that. I don't literally, Shafiu, believe that the 14 political parties will get, all of them will get the nod of the INEC, probably maybe 4 or maybe 5. Or
do you know something we don't know already?
No, because if history, when you look at the calculations of the parties, there are about 114, about 104, 71 that sent in applications, and you ended up with 14. That tells you the trajectory. So if you have 14, chances are that it will be a pass mark if you have 4. It will be a good mark if you have 5. It will be very good when you have 7. Don't expect anything more than 7 to be added to the lot. And if you have more than 7, this, I want you to keep this space, for reference. If you have more than 7, if you have the 14 registered, then one will be legitimately worried to say, no, INEC is also, will then be seen to be up, with a game, something up its sleeves. Because when you pour a lot of parties into the system, you are probably helping the establishment, helping the bigger parties to also, reduce their strength, so that one or, your preferred party at the end of the day will have a simple majority and, will carry the day. So we should not be so worried. I mean, we should not be so, we should not be seen to be celebrating, if the antecedents, if the attitudes, if the way the umpire, blew the whistle in the last 2 elections is anything to go by, we should always be circumspect. Not to rush to judgment, not to rush to, celebrate whatever INEC is doing. I am, like I said, we encourage INEC, but we must take it a step at a time. We must be very, very careful in understanding, in debating, in appreciating what is happening, and keep our eyes and ears open so that we do not take our eyes off the big picture. Our eyes must always be on what? On the bull's eye, right, so that we don't get outplayed at the end of it by all these, issues or parties that are getting to be registered.
And Doctor, if we have to consider quality over quantity, right? 19 already existing political parties on the ballot, and there are at least 15 or maybe 14 or thereabout that Nigerians have never heard of. At least a majority of the country have never heard of or have even voted for. What does this say about what Nigerians are getting in return as far as the electoral process is concerned? Because more than a dozen of the existing political parties today have no one in office today. So what's the point?
There is a palpable fear in the polity that the APC or the government has literally taken over the existing, parties that are seen to be moribund, for the fear that new people might go into them and legitimately contest and be elected. And in the process, the APC has this palpable fear that they might lose some seats in the process. So what we hear is that they have also gone into the boardrooms, the leaderships of these so-called moribund political parties, and they have literally taken them over. And if anybody dared to go into the, right? Allegedly, anybody dared to go into these so-called moribund parties, they will be told that, it is a no-go area. So when you also have the 14, it's a game of let's wait and see. Like I said, the fear of, the way in which we played politics in the past 2 general elections, and the fear in which, there was this debate of which we legitimately feel that, the nation was drifting towards a one-party state. Now, the electoral umpire is trying to saturate the atmosphere, the political atmosphere, to ensure that there aren't, you don't have just a one-party state, but then you can have a one-party state in theory, in practice, and you have a multi-party state in,
But what we have today
in
is
theory.
A multi-party democracy, isn't it?
It's a multi-party democracy in theory. gravitating.
You don't think in practice we have a multi-party state?
No, we don't have a multi-party state in
I mean, the PDP has at least 11 governors.
The PDP has 11 governors. I don't want to talk really about the PDP because I'm out of the PDP per se.
Now, I'm saying the opposition has a significant market share of the election map.
Yes, but then the opposition, as far as the opposition that predated the coming of the new ADC is concerned, is a lame opposition. It's not an opposition. Yes, it's not an opposition that was given the government of the day, a run for its money. We're not just, you should not just be in opposition with just a name. You should be seen to be marketing, your own platform. Not necessarily demarketing your country. Okay. No, demarketing your own, the party in power where they do things that seem to be wrong, and they do not rhyme with the ethics and ethos of democracy, and they do not seem to work in tandem with the collective expectations of Nigerians in terms of delivering on the dividends of democracy, development, combating insecurity, party inclusiveness, and what have you. Right. These are the issues that are on the table. So we believe in the ADC that we are actually the real opposition, and we will give this government, the APC-led government, a run for its money in 2027. I have no worries about that.
Good to see you as always, Dr. Laden Sali. Thank you so much for the analysis this evening. I appreciate you very much for your time.
Thank you, Shafiu,
Thank you very much. Right, I'm sure Shafiu will appreciate the